Hello everyone, my name is Holly and I know it's going to sound crazy, but today I'll be showing you a bunch of November book releases. We only have one more month left after this, and that'll mark 2 years that I've been doing monthly book releases. So if you're new and want some new stuff to read, you want to be in the know, subscribe. We'd love to have you here. Anyone who says help me in the comments, ignore them. They're here willingly. The amount of amazing books that are coming out in November are aplenty. Some real exciting stuff here. We have YA, adult, fantasy, sci-fi, thriller, all the things, but as always, if there's a book I don't mention that you're excited for, let everyone else know down in the comments below. So let's go ahead and get started by talking about books releasing on November 2nd. And the first one I have here is The Marvelous Light. This is a LGBTQ+ historical fiction fantasy coming from Tor. It's shrouded in a murder mystery. We follow Robin and Edwin as they have to team up to solve the mystery of a missing work colleague and Robin's mysterious curse, while all being involved in a mysterious magical society. It really sounds like it's full of charm. In fact, the lightheartedness and gay romance is reminding me a lot of The House in the Cerulean Sea, which are both from Tor, so this all makes sense. I mean, if this book is anything like that, I'm definitely on board. I know you're shocked, romance is my mortal enemy, but sometimes you just have to put aside your beef because this sounds wholesome AF. Skin of the Sea. So this is a debut novel in the genre of YA fantasy and is being influenced by West African mythology. The pitch for this one, because there always is one, is Children of Blood and Bone meets The Little Mermaid. So we can all assume we have some nautical elements here which include mermaids, but don't let that sweep aside its topic. It does focus on heavy important subjects. Our main character is tasked to collect souls from the people who die at sea, and one day she saves a boy from dying, which creates a domino effect of conflicts. The book is already incredibly beautiful on the outside, and the story has great potential to be as well, so if you're looking for a new own voices YA fantasy, be sure to check this one out. Dreams Lie Beneath. This is written by the same author who wrote the Queen's Rising series, which definitely had a moment here on BookTube, and now she's written a new YA fantasy. But what's different about this one is it's a standalone. I feel like we've been seeing a lot of that lately, which is pretty cool. Sometimes it's really nice to take a break from long series, so I'll take all the standalones. This one is about dueling magicians, ancient magical curses, and nightmares that come to life every new moon. What attracted me the most was hearing it takes place in a small mountain village where our main character is an apprentice to her father who serve as wardens to protect the people of their village. It sounds super rad, very atmospheric, and I'm really excited for it. On November 9th, we have The Fall of Babel. You know, I've only talked about this book, just a little bit elsewhere, not like it's all over my channel lately. This is actually one of my most highly anticipated releases of the year, and I know it's many of yours as well, especially if you're taking part in my read-along, where we will be reading this in November. You can still join, of course, there's always time. You can even start sending a sins in November if you want, that's perfectly okay. So this book you'll be hearing me talk about a lot in the coming weeks. I'll try not to be a broken record about it, but let's be honest, I probably will. It's so hard to describe this book as it's a fantastic integration of magic, steampunk, classic writing, and mystery. It just has it all. It's the finale to the Books of Babel series, very long awaited for fans, so cheers to many character deaths and depression, as I'll be sad to say bye to this world. Also, join my Discord if you do decide to join in, or if you are already reading these, you haven't joined my Discord yet, I highly recommend going down there, clicking the link, because Josiah Bancroft himself is in my Discord. So if you want to ask him questions, go join that.
Oh my god.
And then we have here The Hidden. So though I hate the ocean, I love reading about it and artwork of it. And this cover is super cool. It's a mystery story where folklore meets thriller. It takes place in a small seaside town where a young girl is found abandoned and is later claimed by her frantic mother who lost her, except not all is what it seems to be. Hopefully this tacks on some like new ideas in the genre. I think the setup sounds real interesting. I love the environment it's set in. Depending on how the author tells the story, it might just really set itself apart from the rest. So add this one to your TBR because it comes out on November 9th. All of Us Villains. There's just something about Amanda Foodie's writing that I always crave and come back to. In fact, I've read everything she's written so far, so I'm very happy to see her writing a new book, and she's co-writing with another here, which is going to be a really interesting collaboration. So this one has a very Hunger Games vibe to it and supposedly way bloodier, and we like blood around here. It's about 7 families who will send one chosen member to fight to the death. Only one out of the 7 will come out alive during this tournament, and whoever wins will be labeled as the best magical family for 20 years. And they will also get control over the high magic supply the city has. I don't know, it doesn't sound worth it to me, but you do you, boo. I really like the start cover and hopefully it reflects onto the story as well. Year of the Reaper. This is another new YA fantasy. There's a lot of those here on my list this month, but this one in particular I am really pumped for. It follows the aftermath of a plague. Our main character Cass has survived it. Even on his way home, he has to bury a body he stumbles upon. He returns home and finds that the royalty is staying in his city. He ends up saving one of their lives and it turns into like a bit of a mystery after that. I think the cover makes the story sound even more rad. It is just so haunting looking. This is also the same author who wrote Isle of Blood and Stone, so if you enjoyed that, make sure to check this one out. Swashbucklers. This is a new sci-fi fantasy mix coming from Angry Robot. They have another release I'll be talking about later actually. This is like Ghostbusters meets the Goonies and an action-packed humorous fantasy adventure. That's such an interesting combo. It almost reminds me of Kings of the Wild a bit. We have a group of friends who get back together again to kill a monster pirate, but they are now all middle-aged and have kids. So it's kind of following that trope, which I really enjoy. Also, the synopsis mentions the help of a talking fox, which sounds fun already. So I do have this one for review and I'm excited to see how the story develops. Moving along to November 16th, we have You Sexy Thing. No, I'm not flirting with you, though you are. Flaunt that shit. It's the book title. It's genius. I swarmed to it like a hive of bees when I read the title. I want to be able to gush about a book called You Sexy Thing on this channel. Here's my chance. This is a book to a new sci-fi space opera series, and it's being pitched as Farscape meets the Great British Bake Off, and it's called You Sexy Thing. Like, I can't emphasize that enough. It's supposedly an engaging adventure as it follows a diverse alien crew as they simultaneously flee a pirate king and teach a sentient spaceship how to cook. I need it. It's not taking itself too seriously, and it sounds like a lot of fun. And then we have Noor. I hope I'm saying that correctly. I might not be, but I have read another book by this author that I really liked, so I'm excited to read more from her. This is another sci-fi. That seems to be the theme she likes to go in. I love that. It's set in future Nigeria about class, race, high tech, and it follows a character who was born with many birth defects, and she's suddenly forced to be on the run. This author's writing is very rich and detailed, and I know she can pack a punch in such a short amount of time. I expect this one to be no different. Her sci-fis are always so ambitious, and she just nails it every time. Elder Race. This is a short novella coming from one of the masters of sci-fi who pumps out books like it's nothing, and can you guess what genre it is? You're right, it's sci-fi. I've read this one actually and completely forgot to review it in a video, besides my thoughts on my 24-hour video that I mentioned this one in, but it's definitely worth checking out as it's only 170 pages just about. It's told in 2 perspectives, one of them being the daughter of a queen who's basically seen as dirt, and the other is an anthropologist, and it is major Star Trek vibes. Trekkies out there, get your hands on this, write it down. It was written for you. These Silent Woods. This is a thriller, mystery, suspense, whatever you want to call it, and it's a book I actually read the first couple of chapters of, and I really liked it. It was super weird, but very atmospheric. I'll be honest though, the cover made me think, Please don't be another Near the Bone, please. And it didn't seem like it, thank goodness. It already has so many Goodreads reviews, but I'm pretty sure it's not out yet until November. It's going to be real embarrassing if I am wrong. It follows a man and his young daughter who live off the grid deep in the woods. When the only man who knows where they are fails to show up with their yearly supplies, they're forced to take matters into their own hands to survive. Supposedly full of rich characterization and a great portrayal of a father-daughter bond. This one's pretty hype, guys. Get on the train, it's a chewing. Moving on to November 23rd, we have the Boneshard Emperor. Another very hot release for me. I will be reading this one in November myself. It's the sequel to The Boneshard Daughter, which was one of my favorite books last year. In fact, it's always sitting right here next to me, right next to Drew Abercrombie. This series is just so good at making you feel the scale of the places you visit. It takes fantasy variants to a whole new level as it takes place in a tropical setting, which you don't see that often. I'm going to leave this one shorter because I will be talking about it again very soon, and again after that, so just know it's going to be an amazing sequel. Also, I'm pretty sure it's like twice the size of the first one, which is Orbit Tradition, and I love it. Cytonic. So visually speaking, this is already a very impressive title. Brandon Sanderson's name is like a beacon in the fantasy world, and lo and behold, this is the next book to his YA sci-fi series. I believe there's going to be a fourth book. I don't know if there will be more after that, but there's definitely more coming. I feel like I don't have to say a whole lot about this one. Everyone knows what it is, and everyone has started the series besides me, so yay. Forging a Nightmare. So this is the other book that Angry Robot is publishing, and it sounds really ambitious with a ton of things going on, which makes it sound smart, and I'm excited about that. It's a brand new book in the urban fantasy genre featuring a black-led cast in what is pitched as Rivers of London meets American Gods. So immediately that tells me we have some mythology happening here with like angels and demons in a contemporary world. I have fairly high hopes for this one. The cover is so freaking cool. It's what made me interested in it in the first place. So check it out on the 23rd. There is one exciting book coming out on November 25th on my list here, and that is Blind Space. This is the sequel to Stormblood, which is a book that came out last year. It's an indie adult sci-fi that is full of aliens, a very cyberpunk-type environment with lots of drugs. I mean that in the coolest way possible. Staying school kids. A lot of people actually compare the series to Blade Runner because of its like noir adventure element. Also, Jeremy is just a super nice person, and I'm happy to see his books kind of making its rounds in the book community. I still need to get my hands on it, but they are really beautiful books. And finally, November 30th has two very hefty book releases, and the first one is Jade Legacy. This is the final book in the Green Boat saga. It's a finale Orbit is hyping up so much for good reason. It's an Asian-inspired fantasy that is very much on the lines of The Godfather. The city the book takes place in is controlled by two rival gangs. I would not be surprised if this was turned into a TV show one day. All I hear ever is how much of a great show or movie these would make. The first book is Jade City, by the way, I should mention that, and Fonda Lee has built an incredible multi-dimensional world. I'm actually really excited to see what this author comes out with next after her success with this series. And the final book I'll be talking about is Leviathan Falls. So The Expanse is one of the longest running series in sci-fi these days, and for the most part, we know what to expect when it comes to James S.A. Corey. This is the 9th book in the Expanse series. It's an incredibly popular space opera that was turned into a incredibly popular TV series. I'll be honest, the reviews on Goodreads are freaking hilarious right now. Everyone rating 1 star or 5 with complaints about other people rating early. It's great. It's a comedy show over there. This is a sci-fi series I have yet to start. It's very intimidating in terms of popularity and hype, and I know it's great, but I'm excited for those of you who can't wait to continue the story. So that is going to be the end of my list for books releasing in November. I hope you found something to look forward to. Doing these videos for you guys always gets me so excited to read, talking about these new books, and I really hope they get you excited to read as well. We could all use a lot of anticipation right now for awesome books. So I hope these make your day as much as they make mine. Subscribe if you haven't. I upload every single week, most of the time lately. I hope you have a great day or night. So until we meet again, happy reading.